This little bug.
You know what I'm also thinking is many people have asked me, why don't I do in-field footage? If I did a product that actually showed me doing this stuff with women live, would that be interesting to you?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think through the legal implications though, because in the state of California where I live, it's against the law. It is a crime to record a conversation without the other person's consent or permission. So doing it in California, setting aside whether they sign a release for me to use it, is a crime. So I've not been able to get around that because I would have to go somewhere else. I would have to go to another state what are you laughing about?
I say it's pretty unethical, though, I think, to do that. But
I think it's unethical too.
I wouldn't.
I'm pretty creepy too, so I
Yeah,
can't.
I think that's wrong.
It's creepy, yes.
I would like to say that there are some times that they need to show the TV show that.
Yeah, I know what you're going to say. They have TV shows where they film people.
But I would say that is it very interesting to see in action, like sometimes they put cameras in it was a fixed place, so it can even be the streets. But I mean, for me, it would be interesting, and because it's live, you will get the.
I understand. The way those shows work, by the way, is very interesting. They have a sign that says, entry to these premises constitutes your knowledge that you are being recorded and filmed. Right? And then they tell people a lie. They say, oh, we're doing a show on cooking, and in reality it's about something else. If it's a news program, I think that's they have a more experience. So I can't do it, but I've really thought about it. But then I thought it's a really creepy thing to do too. So I used to do this thing for my coaching program where students would record their hidden video sarges, and it was kind of creepy, and some of them are like really creepy. Nah, I can't do it that way. I just can't. So for those of you who are waiting for that product, sorry, ain't gonna happen. Your best proof is in what you do with the material. Do you understand? You've got to go do it for yourself. So, pattern interrupts. We talked about the language for the next meeting, right? You're getting the footage, so don't worry about it exactly. After lunch, we're going to get into witness consciousness, breath, and then aspects of proper review. These are things that you need to know. But let's talk a little bit about themes and patterns. There are certain themes that if you discuss them, certain topics, if you discuss them, are more likely to open the left brain than the right brain. We strike that. And then there are ones that are more likely to open the right brain than the left brain. There are ones that engage the critical faculty, and then there are those themes that tend to engage the imagination. But I want to get back to something else. This language for getting their information. So let's say I only get a chance to talk for like 10 minutes, right? 10 minutes is all I get. I want another meeting. What I don't say is, can I please have your phone number? Why don't I say that?
You're asking.
I don't do that. Here, there's two or three things I do. One thing I do is to simply say this, and this is a little strong. I'll simply say, look, I have no idea what your social situation is, but if you're not with someone who's with you in the way you truly want them to be, let's exchange, maybe we owe it to each other to hang out, see what could happen. Or let's exchange information, see what can happen. Now, when I say, I don't know what your social situation is, I'm expressing both respect for her and the fact that I don't know. What does social situation mean? I don't know what your social situation is, but listen to this. If you're not with someone who's with you in the way you truly want him to be, listen to that language. If you're not with someone in the way you truly want him to be, what does that mean?
Not the one.
Huh?
It's not the one.
It reflects on the fact that women are often thinking, God, is the guy I'm really with? It's sort of like a boyfriend ignorer. And it's also saying a lot of women, now, Some women think, well, I'm not really interested in that kind of thing, and they're going to say, no thanks, and okay, then I know. But the ones who say, yeah, are more likely raising their hand. Do you understand? It also depends on the circumstances and the situation. If she's clearly into me, and we have time. Do you understand what I'm saying? But this is getting the second meet. The other thing is to say, that's my standard thing. The other thing is to say, I don't know what would have to happen for us to spend some time together again, but why don't we exchange information, see what we can enjoy? I don't know what would have to happen for us to spend some time together again, but why don't we exchange information, see what we could enjoy? It's that simple. I don't want to ask for a number. Can I have your phone number? Or why don't you give me your phone number? Why? Why don't I want to do that? Yeah, because oftentimes, okay, she'll give you the phone number without any interest, and then you get flakes. Does that make any sense?
Yes.
You're smiling at that. Why are you smiling, Sophia?
I have no idea.
Huh?
No
Oh,
reason.
no reason? Okay.
I have a question.
Yeah.
These days, more and more girls say, do you have Facebook? And they rather give a Facebook.
I don't do that. If they say, do you have a Facebook? It's a barrier between you and them, and it's also a way to get you to be one of their orbiters. So they can pay attention, you can pay attention to them and text them. Did I hear someone say, yeah, that's true?
I said yes, that's so true.
Right?
Yeah.
I've got sucked into that so many times, I'm not going to do it anymore.
I don't have a Facebook account.
Say, I don't have a Facebook, or say, nah, I don't do it that way.
Plus, they saw your crazy pictures.
What's that? Oh, I saw your crazy pictures. Yeah, and I'm not going near you. So that's the language for the next meet. Let's talk about, before we go to lunch, themes and classic patterns. So themes. There's certain themes like connections, adventure, escape, passions, what they love doing to escape, indulgence, that are more likely to lead to, consider a woman's mind to be like a series of compartments. Here's a compartment where, or a series of levels, like a layer cake, right? And here's a level where she keeps the stuff she has to get done. I have to do my laundry, blah, 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 blah. Then there's the social approval level. What would my friends think? What would my girlfriends think? What would my parents think? Then there's what her knee-jerk responses. I only like guys who look like this. I only like guys that... Then that fourth level of the mind is more pliable. That's the place where she keeps her fantasies, where her imagination can be captured and led. What we want to do is bypass those first three levels and get to that. Get to that fourth level. Because it's at that fourth level where we really have the potential to get some leverage. Does this make sense?
Yes.
So these are some of the themes. Now, you don't walk up to Debbie and say, Debbie, let's talk about how a person can become fascinated and get sexually turned on and want to have sex with me. Why don't we do that?
Why not?
Huh?
It could have worked.
Try it. Tell me what happens.
If you say it with enough confidence.
Huh?
If you
Have
say
you
it with
tried
enough
that?
confidence.
Try it. I, generally speaking, don't want to be that direct. So, some of the ways that I set these up is talking about things like, you know, I find it so interesting, or I think you learn so much about people by learning how, or you learn so much about people by learning where they find their sense of indulgence. Like when you stop and you imagine yourself stripping away from all the tension. You hear it? Imagine yourself stripping away from all the tension that's just so hard on you. Just want to take your mind in a new direction. What do you like to do? How do you like to escape? How do you like to indulge yourself? Do you understand? You take her answers, you feed them back, and you sexualize it through using sexual metaphor. and by turning up your sexual state just a little bit. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Cool, good. So let's talk about a classic pattern and a classic, what are the elements of a classic pattern? Does everyone know my blowjob pattern?
No.
Okay. The theme of the blowjob pattern is indulgence. And I got this idea, I think I told you guys this story, that I was listening to two women at a car wash talk about what they enjoy eating for snacks. Did I tell you this story? Huh? Did I tell this story? And then one of them says, I like Ritz crackers. I keep them by the bed. And I wake up in the middle of the night, I've just got to have one. And she says, do you just eat one, or do you pop as many as you can in your mouth? She says, I try to put it all in my mouth. And I'm like, what? And I'm hearing this, you ever watch I wouldn't, but you ever watch a bad porn movie and they have the obligatory lesbian scene? And the girls are talking, and then they start playing this music. Da 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 da. I'm like almost hearing this music in my head, and these girls are starting to get progressively turned on. Yes, I thought I saw a hand raised. So this is a topic about indulgence. So I'll say, I think you learn so much about people by learning where they find their indulgence, and there's two ways to indulge. I was reading about this in a magazine. There's compulsion and there's anticipation. Compulsion is when you just find yourself reaching for something. And do you see? You just find yourself reaching for something and you don't even know why you're doing that. Like, you ever just suddenly find yourself looking into the refrigerator and you go, how did I get here? I'm not even hungry. You ever find something like that happening, by the way? Right? Never?
Yes.
A lot of people do. But anticipation is when you stop and think about a pleasure before it's about to arrive. Like, you ever come home from a really, really difficult day at work, and all you can think about is just dropping all the clothes and getting into that steaming hot bath or shower? Do you like baths or showers? It doesn't matter what she says. There's that moment when you first enter into it and you let that water just wash over you. You can feel the heat, feel the relaxation moving through your muscles, and you just let this pleasure sink inside. What am I picturing when I say that? What am I picturing? Or, yes?
What about she's shy? So you're there and you're chatting. So what indulges you? Oh, I don't really know.
Change the topic. Change the topic. Change the topic. Change the topic. Or describe your friend's experience. My friend really likes to take showers. She says this. You understand?
Absolutely.
Change the topic or describe your friends. Are you texting? Is this not of interest to you?
No, I'm just taking it in.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I have to work.
All right. And I'll say, or anticipation, so that's anticipating a shower. Or I'll say, or do you like chocolate? Is there something you just can't wait to eat? Usually they like chocolate. I said, I have this friend, and she says she doesn't eat the chocolate right away. She thinks about it, and then what she does is she slowly unwraps it and just touches the tip of it to her tongue, and then she just lets it melt. She says it's like an explosion of pleasure in her mouth. And being very intellectual, I used to think so many thoughts come from above, but sometimes I think it's like the conscious mind can go down into the unconscious and come back up with all these ideas. I used to think so much comes from above, but now I know so much comes from below me, Debbie. By the way, that's in the classic 1993. That's back included in everything in the seminar special. I keep hitting on that. That's a classic pattern. What are the elements of a pattern, a good classic pattern? Number one, it has a very interesting thing. Number two, it involves a description of body feelings. body sensations. You feel the warmth. You understand? Or number 3, it has sexual metaphor woven into it. Does that make sense? New direction, blow me, put your finger on the source of your excitement. Number 4, if possible, it allows her to, quote, interrupt and give her words, which you incorporate it back in. Those are the elements of building your own pattern. Does everyone know my Discovery Channel pattern?
No.
Does anyone know that?
Nope.
You know it? Have you used it?
Yeah, I think I have actually.
Yeah. I actually got this from watching TV. This is true. And I was reading on a magazine on SAS Airlines. There are some people who make their living designing rides, attractions for amusement parks. By the way, do you like roller coasters, anybody?
Yeah.
Who's afraid of roller coasters? I don't like them. I'm not afraid of them. So they were saying, when you stop and imagine your ideal attraction, they're the following elements. First of all, it's got to really get your heart pumping. They were talking about, I don't know if you can picture this as I describe it, that first long, slow, vertical climb up. You feel your breathing start to get faster. Feel your heart pumping with adrenaline. And then as you reach the top, as you let go, you're screaming with all that excitement. And then there's another one that builds and builds, and then you twist around and you're screaming again. Some people really like to let go completely and just not even hold on to the safety bar. But he said there's a second element, and that is the ride has to be safe. You have to know on some level that you're not really going to get hurt, that there's safety here, that it's well built and very sturdy, and that no matter how it may rock and how it may roll, it's not going to break. And finally, they said the third element is it's got to have a lot of variety to it. It can't just be the same up and then down. It has to be different. So as soon as you get off, you want to climb right back on. You want to take the ride multiple times. And I thought, wow, that's really interesting. And sometimes they'll go, are you talking about sex? I'll go, well, you have a dirty mind. I'm playing, I'm pushing the boundary, I'm pushing the border. So again, it's describing body feelings, it's got sexual metaphor, it also includes this, in this case, suggestions for safety. And it is a really good metaphor, is it not?
Yeah. Yes.
So these are other examples of classic patterns. Hold on, just another one I really like to use. This is a favorite theme of mine. You'll get a nice trance with a lot of women with this. Is I talk about time. I'll say, I'll say, you know, I've been reading about how people's personal sense of time really tells a lot about them. And how the way in which you experience time tells you how much you're enjoying yourself and how much you're not. Like, have you ever been out with some people who just make you feel utterly comfortable? Feel like you're totally safe and you can really be yourself and enjoy. And you could be out for like 5 hours, but you don't know it. Seems like only an hour goes by. You look at your watch, wow, 5 hours has gone by. Because you just feel so good. You're having so much fun. Notice this? Right? But you know, you could be waiting in line for a movie. During that 5 hours, you could be in line for a movie. And you could be in line for that movie, and it seems like you're in that line fucking all night long. And so the other thing I found interesting is people's sense of personal timing, their personal rhythm. You know, there's that rhythm of in and out. There's a rhythm of your breathing. There's the rhythm at which you listen. And then there's that very special, very personal, very intimate rhythm of in and out, up and down, back and forth, between being in that place in your mind where you worry about what other people think, and that place where you just feel you're opening for a new direction that you can see yourself taking. Anyway, Debbie, blah, 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 blah. These are all classic patterns. The structures, there's a theme, there's suggestions, and they point to some truth. It is true. Is it not true that when you really enjoy some things and activities, they fly by?
Yeah.
Are there people like that? So we're incorporating, these things are not made up just strictly from my perverted imagination. They incorporate some truth. They incorporate some reality. They incorporate things that people experience. Is this making sense?
Yes.
Yes, question.
Is there a certain level of intelligence that you think the person you're speaking to needs to have in order to engage in this kind of level?
I think the more intelligent the woman, the more intelligent the woman, the more likely she is to be responsive. Intelligence and suggestibility are related. Intelligence is not gullibility. Gullibility is how quickly and easily people accept something as being factual. Like if I said, hey Debbie, I have a submarine and I can run 100 miles an hour and blah, 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 blah. Or do you understand? Gullible is fucking with people in that way. Suggestion just means your mind has the ability to take an idea, make it seem real for you in that moment, and test out different variations of it. Suggestibility is extremely related to intelligence. Would you not agree?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, yes.
In some of your earlier patterns, like earlier products, you used to move pictures inside people's heads.
Oh yeah, I don't do that anymore. Look at that picture and do this, and because it's difficult to get people to do it, and only a small percentage of them. But if you want to see that, it's in the classic 1993 I Don't Teach It Anymore that's included in the special seminar offer. It is. It's the only place where you can see me do it. He's asking about how I used to demonstrate submodalities. Now take that. Okay, I still do that pattern. I will, every once in a while, when someone asks me what I'll do, I'll say, I teach this discipline called NLP. It's a way of taking the things in our lives that normally we don't have any conscious awareness of, and bringing them a little bit more into our conscious control, a little bit more into our conscious awareness. For example, things like creativity, things like how you connect with people. So let me show you a few things, and I'll go through this whole thing where I have them notice a picture of someone they like and then a picture of who they don't really like and move them around. Problem is, not everyone's able to visualize that way, and it's just a lot of work. Not everyone is interested in the topic, and not everyone can visualize that way, and it's just too much of me, quote, being clever. I'd rather show up in a way where my voice is, I'd rather show up in a way where I use my genuine curiosity about the other person and sexualize it than have to do all this other stuff. It just is more fun, more interesting, works better for me, etc., etc. End of the story. Yes, Kung Fu Master.
You talked about when you give suggestions and commands, you
Yes.
picture the sexual stuff you're doing with the girl.
I said when I give suggestions and commands, there's a point at which,
Yes.
when I said, that's not quite what I said. I said when I use ambiguity, like new direction,
Yes.
feel your opening, put your finger on the source of your excitement, that's when I picture things sexual.
And it's just a moment you picture it.
Yeah, just for a moment.
Okay.
And I turn up my state just a little bit. By the way, there's a difference between a horny and a sexual state. A horny state is you're throbbing from your genitalia and melting your zipper. A sexual state is more, that energy is spread and diffused across the entire body. It's a lot more, you understand? It's not like boom, 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 boom. Because it's okay for a guy to be sexual, but when he's horny, do you understand? There's a kind of a difference there. Yes,
This can
Pazan.
this can be a pattern as well, I think, with some.
Now that is smart. He said that can be a pattern as well, talking about the difference between horny and being sexual. Yeah, but you know, you better be careful where you introduce it. It wouldn't be the first thing I walk up and say. Yeah? Anything else? Yes, back.
Sure. Wow, but wow, can do what kind of voices?
Well, what do you mean by voices?
You said you were using
Voice.
Oh, voice. Yeah, we can do a little stupid exercise if you want. Okay? Anyone want to volunteer to be on camera? No. Okay? So we'll do it like this. So everybody go, this is my nose. This is my throat. This is my chest. And when I speak from here, can you feel your voice resonating against your hand? Can you feel it? Don't report. You're out of here. Can you feel it? Can you feel it resonant? Yes? No, you cannot. Who cannot? All right. So, if you cannot, let's try something. Can you say, Do you feel resonance now?
It's a tiny bit.
Tiny bit. Yum.
Yum.
Yum. Drop your jaw. Yum. Better?
Bit.
Better. Drop your jaw. Yum.
Yum.
Drop your jaw. Yum. A lot of you are carrying a lot of tension here. Way too much tension. Way too much. Up here. And then you have a constriction on the throat. It's tightening the throat. So try it again. This is my nose. I stole this from Richard Bandler. This is my throat. This is my chest. And when I speak from here, I will make more money, influence more people, and get laid a lot more. Do that little exercise. The other exercise I like to give people is pick a neutral word. Pick the word watermelon. Can everyone just say watermelon with a... Now, think of a really angry emotion and say watermelon through that angry emotion.
Watermelon.
Right. And now think of being really, really turned on and say watermelon. Watermelon. Practice with a neutral word, speaking with different tonalities. Does this make sense?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, one more thing. I don't do this anymore, but it's really evil. You want to see an evil trick that sometimes 1 out of like 3 or 4 times, maybe 1 out of 5 will get women to call you first? No, you don't.
We do.
Okay, sure. I haven't done it in a long time. I'll say, you know, at some point in the coming week, and I don't know exactly when, you might find yourself thinking about this conversation. And you'll think to yourself, I want to talk to that guy again. You got to call him. And you'll look for my number right here on this card. And if you see their pupils dilate and go like that, they'll call. I had this happen with a girl. She called me. I said, oh, it's nice to hear from you. She said, well, didn't you program me to call you? And it usually, now, you're a hypnotist. But the thing is, it's a post-hypnotic suggestion, but the thing about it is, and I want to discuss the structure of that, and then we'll take our break. The structure of that is, when you say at some point in the coming week, it doesn't say, and I'm not sure exactly when, it's orienting them in the future. You might find yourself thinking about this conversation, and you'll think to yourself, I got to talk to that guy again. I want to talk to that guy again. You got to call him. You notice that shift? Have you ever, when you want to do something and get yourself moving, do you ever say, okay, you got to do this, right? it's putting it in the structure with which people think when they say to themselves something they've got to do, right? You got to call him. And you'll look for my number right here on this card. And if their pupils dilate like that means they're going to call you. Otherwise, they're not. Little evil, dirty trick. There's a whole bunch of things like that in the 1993 stuff, the old secret stash. This is part of the seminar upper back there in the back of the room. All right, let's take, we'll come back here at 2 o'clock. I'll see you then.